imitation. In other words, an imposter. This is the statement of Brahma. And because we belong to Brahma's disciplic succession, we should accept the statement that the real Kapila is the son of Devahuti, and that real Sankhya philosophy is the system of philosophy which he introduced and which will be accepted by the acharyas, the directors of spiritual discipline. The word susamata means accepted by persons who are counted upon to give their good opinion. Haribol. Okay, as we said before, there's real Sankhya and false Sankhya, and the real Kapila and the false Kapila. Okay, so text number 20. Sri Maitreya said, after thus speaking to Kardama Muni and his wife Devahuti, Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, who is also known as Hamsa, went back to the highest of the three planetary systems on his swan carrier with the four Kumaras and Narada. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The word Hamsena Yanena are very significant here. Hamsa Yana, Hamsa Yana, the airplane by which Brahma travels all over outer space, resembles a swan. Brahma is also known as Hamsa because he can grasp the essence of everything. His abode is called Tridama Paraman. There are three divisions of the universe: the upper planetary system, the middle planetary system, and the lower planetary system. But his abode is above even Stitaloka, the upper planetary system. He returned to his own planet with the four Kumaras and Narada because they were not going to be married. The other rishis who came with him, such as Marichi and Atri, remained there because they were to be married to the daughters of Kardama. But his other sons, Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, and Narada, went back with him in his swan-shaped airplane. The four Kumaras and Narada are Naistika brahmacharis. Naistika brahmachari refers to one who never wastes his semen at any time. They were not to attend the marriage ceremony of their other brothers, Marichi, and the other sages, and therefore they went back with their father, Hamsa. Okay, so we can see here that Brahma is known as Hamsa because he can grasp the essence of everything. Why does he say that? Because the yeah, there's possibility of birds that only okay, well, I won't say that. Anyway, therefore, uh, the sons, Tanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, and Narada, uh, so they went back with Brahma in his swan-shaped airplane. The four Kumaras and Narada are Naistika brahmacharis. That means that they'll never be married. and they've never, you know, uh, had any, let's say, waste of semen at any time. Now, see, that's a very significant statement. Semen is something that is very important because it's the vital energy of the body. And when it is not wasted, it actually can, instead of uh, dropping, it goes up the spinal column and uh, it makes the brain very, very advanced. Uh, Therefore, materialistic people, they drop semen, and great sages, they raise the semen to their brain, and it makes the brain much, much uh, more, let's say, uh, sharp or much more able to understand things. The semen is a very important part of the body. If it is wasted, it uh, makes one weaker, and it uh, makes one subject to getting sick, as well as it makes one uh, mm, dumb, basically. But when it is uh, protected, or in other words, instead of dropping semen, the semen can go up through uh, uh, the uh, go up rather than go down, and it makes the brain much sharper, so that one can live longer and have and healthier and much more intelligent. Becomes uh, what you would call fecundated, or becomes enlightened. Let's put it like that. Yeah. So, um, great sages know how to raise the semen and to the brain, and nonsense people waste semen and goes down and drops. Uh, you know, when they have sex. So, semen is very important. It's what gives the body life and uh, good consciousness and health when it's not wasted. And when it's wasted, it makes someone basically uh, dull, and they lack a clear uh, consciousness. Therefore, one should never waste semen. Okay, so here it says that the four Kumaras in Narada were Naistika brahmacharis. Naistika brahmachari refers to one who never wastes his semen at any time. They were not to attend the marriage ceremony of their other brothers, Marichi and the other sages, and therefore they went back with their father, Hamsa. Okay, so to be a Naistika brahmachari is very important if if somebody wants to become uh, a spiritually advanced person. So not only does one become spiritually advanced by knowledge, but also by not wasting their semen. Semen is the life giving, uh, in other words, you would call it the life giving, uh, energetic um, constituent of the body that enables one to think sharply and to have a longer um, duration of life, and with more energy. And of course, when I say think sharply, they are able to understand higher order philosophical things uh, because they're not wasting their semen. When you don't waste the semen, it rises up to the brain and fecundates or makes the brain much sharper. And when people waste their semen, they become dull and stupid. Okay, so in this verse, it also says the four Kumaras and Narada are Naistika brahmacharis. Naistika brahmachari refers to one who never wastes his semen at any time. They were not to attend the marriage ceremony of their other brothers, Marichi, and the other sages, and therefore they went back with their father, Hamsa. Hamsa means is like a transcendental bird. Okay, like a swan. Um, so Maitreya said, after thus speaking to Kardama Muni and his wife, Devahuti, Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, who is also known as Hamsa, went back to the highest of the three planetary systems on his swan carrier with the four Kumaras and Narada. Okay, in other words, they're not interested in any mundane things like attending marriages and so forth. They're always Naistika, meaning one who never wastes his semen at any time. They were not to attend the marriage ceremony of their other brothers, Marichi and other sages, and therefore they went back with their father, Hamsa. So when it says they were not to attend the marriage ceremony, okay, that not that there's something wrong with marriage, but these were the four Kumaras and Narada are Naistika brahmacharis. They don't associate uh, in mundane activities. Let's put it like that. Okay, so text 21. O Vidura, after departure of Brahma, Kardama Muni, having been ordered by Brahma, handed over his 9 daughters as instructed to the 9 great sages who created the population of the world. Text 22 and 23. Kardama Muni handed over his daughter Kala to Marichi and another daughter Anasuya to Atri. He delivered Shraddha to Angira and Havirbu to Pulasya. He delivered Gati to Pulaha, the chaste Kriya to Kratu, Kyati to Brigu, and Arundhati to Vasista. So these are all very exalted stages that are uh, being married to very, let's say, spiritually advanced ladies. And then next verse, text 24, he delivered Santi to Atharva. Because of Santi, sacrificial ceremonies are well performed. Thus, he got the foremost brahmanas married, and he maintained them along with their wives. Okay, this is Kardama Muni. Well, a father who has daughters is always worried about getting the daughters married to proper persons. So that's the duty of a father. If he doesn't do that, then he's always in anxiety. Both the father and mother will be in anxiety if they can't get their daughter married to a suitable person who is spiritually, let's say, advanced. So, Kardama Muni is doing the duty, getting his daughters married to the right people, the right men. And it says here, thus he got the foremost brahmanas married, and he maintained them along with their wives. Okay, very good, Kardama. So then, text 25 says, thus married, the sages took leave of Kardama and departed, full of joy, each for his own hermitage. Well, this is a happy, what you would call uh, a happy marriages when a father can get his daughter married to a saintly person. That is a success. Uh, and that means that the next generation will also be spiritual. Okay, so then it says, thus married, the sages took leave of Kardama and departed full of joy, each for his own hermitage, O Vidura. Okay, then we go on to the next verse. When Kardama Muni understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the chief of all the demigods, Vishnu, had descended, Kardama approached him in a secluded place, offered obeisances, and spoke as follows. Lord Vishnu, purport. Lord Vishnu is called Sri Yuga. He appears in three yugas, Satya, Tretya, and Dwapara. But in Kali Yuga, he does not appear. From the prayers of Prahlada Maharaj, however, we understand that he appears garbed as a devotee in Kali Yuga. Lord Chaitanya is that devotee. Krishna appears in the form of a devotee, but although he never disclosed himself, Rupa Goswami could understand his identity. For the Lord cannot hide himself from a pure devotee. Rupa Goswami detected him when he offered his first obeisances to Lord Chaitanya. He knew that Lord Chaitanya was Krishna himself and therefore offered his obeisances with the following words. I offer my respects to Krishna, who has now appeared as Lord Chaitanya. This is also confirmed in the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. In Kali Yuga, he does not directly appear, but appears as a devotee. Vishnu, therefore, is known as Tri Yuga, Tri Yuga. Another explanation of Tri Yuga is that he has three pairs of divine attributes, namely power and affluence, piety and renown, and wisdom and dispassion. According, and these are divine attributes, according to Sridhar Swami, his three pairs of opulences are complete riches and complete strength, complete fame and complete beauty, and complete wisdom and complete renunciation. There are different interpretations of Tri Yoga, but it is accepted by all learned scholars that the Tri Yuga, excuse me, Tri Yuga means Vishnu. When Kardama Muni understood that his son Kapila was Vishnu himself, he wanted to offer his obeisances. Therefore, when Kapila was alone, he offered his respects and expressed his mind as follows. Okay, so a lot of information in this verse. When Kardama Muni understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the chief of all the demigods, Vishnu, had descended, Kardama approached him in a secluded place, offered obeisances, and spoke as follows. Okay, so there are many mysterious things that happen in the world, and most people don't understand them. That's why it's important to read Srimad Bhagavatam, as we're doing to begin to understand these mysterious things and to understand uh, how to recognize a bona fide incarnation of the Lord rather than fake incarnations. There's just like it says, there's real Kapila Muni and there's a false Kapila Muni. There's real Sankhya philosophy and false Sankhya philosophy. So you have two people that you have the name Kapila. One is the real Kapila, the other is the false Kapila. And the real Kapila speaks the real uh, philosophy, and the false Kapila speaks a contaminated version of Sankhya. The Unless we read the Bhagavatam, we won't understand these things. And by the way, today in colleges they teach the false Kapila's Sankhya. The what's the difference between the real Sankhya and the false Sankhya? Well, the real Sankhya uh, talks ultimately about who Krishna is, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the false Sankhya only talks about 24 elements, but doesn't talk about Krishna. So the Sankhya that's taught in colleges and in the, let's say, Mayavadi uh, schools and things like that is the false Sankhya. It's not the real Sankhya. All right. So um, it says here that Rupa Goswami could understand his identity, for the Lord cannot hide himself from a pure devotee. Now, that is a very important statement. Uh, just like Lord Chaitanya did not appear as God. He appears garbed or looking like a devotee in Kali Yuga. Lord Chaitanya is that devotee. Krishna appeared in the form of a devotee, but although he never disclosed himself, Rupa Goswami could understand his identity. For the Lord cannot hide himself from a pure devotee. Very significant statement. Rupa Goswami detected him when he offered his first obeisances to Lord Chaitanya. He knew that Lord Chaitanya was Krishna himself and therefore offered his obeisances with the following words: I offer my respects to Krishna, who has now appeared as Lord Chaitanya. This is also confirmed in the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. In Kali Yuga, he, meaning Krishna, does not directly appear, but he appears as a devotee. Vishnu, therefore, is known as Tri Yuga. Another explanation of Tri Yuga is that he has three pairs of divine attributes. Okay, so Tri Yuga means that he appears as the Supreme Personality in, three yugas, Satya and Dwapara and Treta yugas. But in Kali Yuga, he appears as a devotee, Lord Chaitanya. And why is that? Because in his previous appearances, let's say Supreme Personality Godhead, uh, they people quickly forgot the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he appears in Kali Yuga as a devotee to teach people how to be proper devotees. When he appears as Supreme Personality of Godhead, many, not so many people, but some people understand, but quickly they forget. So then he appears as a devotee to teach people how to be proper devotees. So it says here, uh, I also um, Rupa Goswami, he detected uh, Lord Chaitanya, and he offered his first obeisances to Lord Chaitanya. He knew that Lord Chaitanya was Krishna himself, and therefore offered his obeisances with the following words: I offer my respects to Krishna, who has now appeared as Lord Chaitanya. This is also confirmed in the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. In Kali Yuga, he does not directly appear, but he appears as a devotee. Vishnu, therefore, is known as Sri Yuga. In other words, it appears in his as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in 3 yugas. But in the 4th yuga, he appears hidden. He's a hidden avatar. Another explanation of True Yuga is that he has 3 pairs of divine attributes, namely power and affluence, piety and renown, wisdom and dispassion. According to Sridhar Swami, these 3 pairs of opulences are complete riches and complete strength, complete fame and complete beauty, complete wisdom and complete renunciation. There are different interpretations of Tree Yuga, but it is accepted by all learned scholars that Tree Yuga means Vishnu. When Kardama Muni understood that his son Kapila was Vishnu himself, he wanted to offer his obeisances. Therefore, when Kapila was alone, he offered his respects and expressed his mind as follows. Well, it's a very special thing when your son is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and but he's appearing as the son. However, that's why he's giving his obeisances in private. Um, so why is that? Well, uh, he doesn't want to interfere with the uh, pastime of Kapila Muni. He wanted to offer obeisances. Okay. Normally, a father doesn't give obeisances to his son. Therefore, when Kapila was alone, he offered his respects and expressed his mind as follows. Okay. Kardama Muni said, oh, after a long time, the demigods of this universe have become pleased with the suffering souls who are in material entanglement because of their own deeds. Very good verse. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The material world is a place for suffering, which is due to the misdeeds of the inhabitants, the conditioned souls themselves. The sufferings are not extraneously imposed upon them. Rather, the conditioned souls create their own suffering by their own acts. So you can't blame Krishna for people who deviate from Sanatana Dharma. It's their own, let's say, fault. People like to, blame, uh, something else for their shortcomings in life, but it's their own fault. Everybody has limited free will. What is the limited free will? Well, you basically have 2 decisions or let's say, uh, 2 paths to follow. Either you follow the path of Sanatana Dharma or you follow the path of being a nonsense person. So this is a choice everybody has in life. And uh, most people choose to be nonsense, but rare people choose to follow the path of Sanatana Dharma and the path of Krishna consciousness. So you don't see millions and billions of devotees because they're rare people who recognize the purpose of life is to understand their relationship with Krishna and act in that relationship. There are people that go to church. There are people that uh, worship um, like impersonalists, worship in an impersonal way, like the Muslims. They're actually impersonalists. If you go to a Muslim temple, there's no deity there. Right? They just have something on the wall that indicates the direction of Makkah, and they all face uh, that that's something they put on the wall to indicate where Makkah is and what direction it is, and then they all bow down to it. I don't know. Have you ever gone to a Muslim uh, temple?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Did you see any deity there? No.
Yeah, there won't be any deities.
Yeah, there's no
It is
deity.
some kind of photos hanging on the wall.
Photos of what? Of it's not a person.
It's not a person.
It's just a writing.
Right.
Yeah. And they bow down uh, in the direction of Makkah. Right. I can understand, that they are Mayavadis. They don't accept the form of the Lord. In fact, they prohibit any uh, deities. Therefore, when they, attack Hindu temples, first thing they do is to break the deities. Yeah.
Maharaj, in the childhood, our school took us to a Bahai temple.
Baha'is, yeah, that's the same thing. Go
I
ahead.
was surprised. They said this is temple and there is nothing. I was totally confused.
Yeah,
But we thought maybe it's just like that only. I didn't have any idea that there will be no deity.
yeah.
But the word was it's a Bahai temple. I said it's not a temple because I used to go to
There's
temple.
no deity.
There's nothing. You're just empty hall.
Yeah. Yeah, the Baha'is also don't believe in worshiping deities.
Inside a mosque, you typically find one prayer hall called Musalla, the main area where Muslims gather to perform prayers. It's usually an open space with carpets but without furniture to allow for space for worshippers to kneel and prostrate. Then mihrab, a niche in the wall of the prayer hall that indicates the direction of Kaaba in Mecca, known as Qibla, towards which Muslims pray. Basically, there is a niche in the wall that points to the direction of the Kaaba. Then minbar, pulpit, where Imam, prayer leader, delivers sermon, especially during the Friday congregation prayers, Jummah. Then wudu area, a space with sinks and fountains for ablution, a ritual washing before prayers, and this calligraphy and decorations. Masks are often adorned with Islamic calligraphy, especially verses from Quran, geometric patterns, and sometimes arabesque designs. These decorations are non-figurative, as Islam traditionally discourages the depiction of living beings in places of worship. Then separate areas for men and women. Many mosques have separate prayer or sections for men and women to pray. And then minaret, a tower from which the call to prayer, adhan, is traditionally announced. Finally, library and study room or study rooms. Some larger mosques may include libraries or rooms for Quranic study and community events.
That's it. No deities. That's why when the Muslims attack a Hindu temple, they they break the deities. And not only that, just to be more nasty, they break the deities and they make the broken pieces steps that one has to step on as they enter the temple, enter their mosque. And so just to prove that the deity is not sacred, it's some material thing. They're really nasty. Yeah. Okay. Um, so therefore, knowing let's say, knowing the tenets of Islam, if one lives, let's say there's a a congregation of devotees in a Muslim country, it's not a good idea to have uh, deities in the temple. It's better to worship the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, uh, instead of worshiping deities, because eventually some fanatic imam uh, will teach that uh, um, it's sacrilegious to have a Hindu temple in a Muslim country, and they'll eventually invade the temple and destroy the deities because they think it's something that violates their religion. It is what they call, what do they call it? It's a sinful thing to worship a deity. So, understanding that, my suggestion to Hindus who have temples in Muslim countries is not to worship deities, but to worship the Bhagavad Gita. Now the Muslims can't have a reason to come and break the idols because you're worshiping the book incarnation of Krishna, which is Bhagavad Gita. That's what they do. They worship the Quran, right? So we can worship Bhagavad Gita. So then they will not have an argument. But if you insist on having deities in a Muslim country, there's always the let's say possibility that during a period, well, there's always a possibility of having a fanatical Muslim, let's say, teacher who eventually says, "Look, we can't have these uh, these Hindus in our country because they are worshiping deities, which is against our law. So let's go and burn their temple, and kill them." You know? So you have to understand Islam, and not try and do something that they consider as completely, um, in other words, a complete anathema, something that they never do, and, and they consider as sinful, that is worshiping deities. So we can also worship Bhagavad Gita. That's also a deity. And that's what they do. They worship a book called the Quran. So we can worship Bhagavad Gita, in Muslim countries.
Maharaj, it was written here, mosques don't have deities because many Muslims reject visual representations of religious figures.
Yes.
This is because they believe that only God has the ability to create the living forms.
Yeah. Now, why is that? Because there's no information in the Quran of what God looks like. They have no information in their holy book. Therefore, they're forbidden to make any what we would call idols or deities. It's completely forbidden. So here come the Hindus, and they come in with all kinds of idols, and the Muslims are convinced that this is haram. This is something that is completely forbidden in their religion. And here comes this Hindu temple with a whole bunch of deities in it. So they're going to destroy it eventually. You'll get some crazy imams, and they say, our country is being contaminated by the Hindus, so we have to eradicate them. Their deities and them also. So therefore, my suggestion to the Hindus that are in Muslim countries is to worship the Bhagavad Gita. And that Bhagavad Gita is not different than Krishna, right? So then the Muslims would not be able to, they wouldn't see any reason why they should kill the Hindus or destroy their temples, right? So this is what the Sikhs do. The Sikhs worship the Granth, the book that they have, right? So that, and by the way, this was done purposely by the what do you call it? The Granth Sahib, which is the book that they have. And they don't worship deities either. They worship this book. That was done purposely by their leaders. Who was the big Sikh leader? I forget right now. Yeah. What's his name again?
Guru Nanak.
Yeah, Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak, look it up, but I think he's the one that started that, worshipping the Granth Sahib instead of worshipping deities. Of course, Sikhs originally were Hindus, and they started the Khalsa in order to protect the Hindus. But then they started to deviate, and instead of protecting Hindus, sometimes they kill Hindus now, which is unfortunate. What's it say about Guru Nanak? Is
Apparently,
Guru
it
Nanak
started with the fifth Sikh Guru called Guru Arjan Dev.
Yeah.
The tradition of revering the Guru Granth Sahib, the holy scripture, began with Guru Arjan Dev, the fifth Sikh Guru. He compiled the Adi Granth, the original version of Guru Granth Sahib, in 1604, collecting the hymns and teachings from the previous Sikh Gurus, as well as other spiritual leaders of various faiths, emphasizing universality of the message. Later, the 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh, declared the Guru Granth Sahib as the eternal Guru of the Sikhs in 1708, effectively ending the line of human Gurus. Since then, the Guru Granth Sahib has been the central object of reverence and spiritual authority in Sikh worship, replacing the need for a human Guru. They don't have a human Guru.
Yeah. They're worshiping the book, just like the Muslims. Because they were fighting with the Muslims all the time. And it's Guru Gobind Singh, right? Is that the one? No.
Guru Arjan Dev.
Or Arjun. They decided, okay, look, we're always fighting with these Muslims. Let's just do something that does not make the Muslims so crazy to kill us.
I think the 10th Guru made this, right? The Guru Gobind Singh named the scripture. Is that the right Guru?
He compiled it.
10th Guru has decided this. That is Guru Gobind Singh.
Basically, after that, he said there's no more human gurus. But they started worshipping from the time Guru Arjan Dev started compiling for them.
Right. But the final declaration
Yeah.
was by the Guru Gobind.
Guru Gobind.
Now, this was a smart move, in my estimation, because Muslims do not forbid Sikh temples in their countries. There are there are temples of Sikhs in Hindu in Muslim countries. If I'm not mistaken, because like the Muslims, the uh, uh, the Sikhs, they worship a book called the Granth Sahib, and they don't have any more gurus. The 10th guru was the last guru. Right? So those are adjustments that are being made so that they can live in Muslim countries without being massacred. Okay. All right. So now we're on text number what? Text 28.
Yes.
Okay. So text 28 says, after many births, mature yogis, by complete trance in yoga, endeavor in secluded places to see the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Very interesting. After many births, mature yogis, by complete trance in yoga, endeavor in secluded places to see the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Some important things are mentioned here about yoga. The word Bahu Janma Vipakvena means after many, many births of mature yoga practice. And another word, Samyak Yoga Samadhina, means by complete practice of the yoga system. Complete practice of yoga means bhakti yoga. Unless one comes to the point of bhakti yoga or surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one's yoga practice is not complete. This same point is collaborated in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Pahanam Janmanamante, after many, many births, the Jnani, who has matured in transcendental knowledge, surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kardama Muni repeats the same state after many, many years and many, many births of complete practice of yoga. One can see the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord in a secluded place. It is not that after one practices some sitting postures, he immediately becomes perfect. That's an important statement right there. One has to perform yoga a long time, many, many births, to become mature, and a yogi has to practice in a secluded place. One cannot practice yoga in a city or in a public park and declare that he has become God simply by some exchange of dollars. This is all bogus propaganda. Those who are actually yogis practice in a secluded place, and after many, many births, they become successful, provided they surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the completion of yoga. So, therefore, we can see all the yoga being done in all the yoga schools today is complete nonsense. It has nothing to do with the real yoga. They're just doing physical exercises. So, in other words, whether you do physical exercises like calisthenics and things like that, or you do the so-called yoga practices, this sitting in a lotus position and silently meditating or so forth, or doing different positions of the body, twisting the body like a pretzel. That's not really yoga. That's called boga. There's yoga and there's boga. So what's being taught in yoga schools now is not really yoga. It is a aberration due to speculation. And real yoga is Krishna consciousness. So therefore, that's why Prabhupada says here that complete practice of yoga means bhakti yoga. Unless one comes to the point of bhakti yoga or surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one's yoga practice is not complete. This same point is corroborated in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Bahunam Janmanamante. After many, many births, the Jnani, who has matured in transcendental knowledge, surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kardama Muni repeats the same statement. After many, many years and many, many births of complete practice of yoga, one can see the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord in a secluded place. It is not that after one practices some sitting postures, he immediately becomes perfect. One has to perform yoga a long time, many, many births, to become mature. And a yogi has to practice in a secluded place. One cannot practice yoga in a city or in a public park and declare that he has become God simply by some exchange of dollars. This is all bogus propaganda. The exchange of dollars, like you go to this yoga school, you have to pay some money, right? They teach you how to do yoga. Those who are actually those who are actually yogis practice in a secluded place. And after many, many births, they become successful, provided they surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the completion of yoga. Well, Lord Chaitanya made it very easy. You just chant Hare Krishna and eat prasadam and associate with devotees. You don't have to live in a dark cave all by yourself and meditate. You chant Hare Krishna and loudly and in public or in your closet, either way. But chanting in public is highly recommended, more so than chanting in the closet. And so that you can help other people also become Krishna conscious by hearing the holy name of the Lord. So this Bahanam Janmanamante, after many, many births, the Jnani, who has matured in transcendental knowledge, surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kardama Muni repeats the same statement. After many, many years and many, many births of complete practice of yoga, one can see the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord in a secluded place. It is not that after one practices some sitting postures, he immediately becomes perfect. One has to perform yoga a long time, meaning many, many births, to become mature. In other words, no longer being a novice, someone who's just beginning the spiritual path. To become mature, and a yogi has to practice in a secluded place. So the real yogis, you never see them. The bogus yogis, you see them. The real yogis, you don't see them. They're meditating in a private place or secluded place. One cannot practice yoga in a city or in a public park and declare that he has become God simply by some exchange of dollars. This is all bogus propaganda. Those who are actually yogis practice in a secluded place, and after many, many births, they become successful. So you'll see this advertisement will say, such and such person has been meditating silently for 40 years. And then he comes into society, right? And he tells people, I've been meditating 40 years in a cave or somewhere. And then they accept him as some great yogi. So this is bogus. This is not actually the right way. The right way in Kali Yuga is to chant Hare Krishna and follow the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness. And because these other processes that might have been valid in previous times, such as meditation or such as performing great tapasya, or such as studying the shastras very, let's say, for a very, very long time, that may have been possible in previous times. But in Kali Yuga, the recommended process for attaining for obtaining knowledge and attaining the position of a bona fide yogi is Krishna. Chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, eating only prasadam, and performing Harinam Sankirtan. That is real yoga in Kali Yuga. All other things are not bona fide, and we can see that. Like if you go to a yoga school, what do? Uh, they do silent meditation, sitting down in the lotus position and meditating for hours. Nowadays, they add doing some kirtan also in some of the schools. But the real thing is the silent meditation. Of course, that doesn't really give much result. And so, therefore, they don't become spiritually advanced. But they say, well, it gives me peace and calmness, and things like that. Or it gives me health because I'm, controlling my breathing, etc., and sitting down in the lotus position and so forth. So today there are many yoga schools, and they have the yoga mats, and they go to the school and they meditate silently. Right? And some of those places they have kirtan also, but the kirtans are not bona fide because they're I mean, sometimes they chant Hare Krishna. I can't say they never do that, but most of the time they chant all kinds of different mantras, and they accept people as great, say, yogis or great saints that are not actually great saints, great yogis. Uh, so, uh, and therefore, Prabhupada says it is not that after one practices some sitting postures, he immediately becomes perfect. One has to perform yoga a long time, and then he qualifies that. Many, many births to become mature, and the yogi has to practice in a secluded place. One cannot practice yoga in a city or in a public park and declare that he has become God simply by some exchange of dollars. This is all bogus propaganda. Yeah, in the yoga schools, you have to pay for it, right? Do they have any free yoga schools? I don't think so. You know, those who are actually yogis practice in a secluded place. And in other words, you're not practicing with a lot of people around you, practicing in a secluded place. And those who are actually yogis practice in a secluded place. And after many, many births, they become successful, provided they surrender onto the Supreme Personality Godhead. This is the completion of yoga. Well, uh, Prabhupada and the Vaishnava acharyas, they were teaching the real yoga. They surrender to Krishna and engage in all types of Krishna conscious activities. And our meditation is chanting Hare Krishna. Okay, let's say a person is a yogi and he practices yoga 2 hours a day. Well, we're doing the same thing. It takes at least 2 hours to chant 16 good rounds. So we're also meditating, but we're not, limited to 2 hours. I mean, we can chant Hare Krishna all day long. Because the whole idea of these yoga schools, you go, you have your yoga mat, you put it down, and then you meditate silently for an hour, and then maybe you might chant some bhajan, and you might hear some lecture by someone. That is more or less a waste of time. But if you chant Hare Krishna, you can chant all day long. You can chant your whole lifetime, and you're associating directly with Krishna. The name of Krishna and Krishna are non-different. Now, this is a very important point that is misunderstood by many people. Let's see, where is it? This book here. No, yeah. This is a nice book. It's written by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. It says, Nectar of Instructions for Immortality. So, in this book, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says,
Hare Krishna, the volume went low.
Hare Krishna, what did you say?
Oh, I thought we lost you.
No. I'm sorry. I'm just looking up something. Okay, so in this book, it says, quotes the verse, Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nimatsaranam satam, completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Well, isn't that what we do every day? Every day we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam and also Bhagavad Gita. The process, and then the purport said, the process of doing good for others described by the Bhagavatam was discovered and refined by Sri Chaitanya Deva. The process destroys the threefold misery, whereas the usual form of mundane welfare work imagined by this world's thoughtful people are neither beneficial nor do they deliver the ultimate goal of life. They cannot even destroy the material misery. Miseries are the effect of a particular cause. Until the cause is destroyed, the effect will remain. Until the root of a banyan tree is destroyed, it will again sprout, even if one cuts down its trunk and branches thousands of times. The thousands of man-made proposals for social welfare remind us of the attempt to empty the ocean with one's bare hands. Even if thousands of people engage continuously in such an endeavor for thousands of yugas, they will never be successful, since one may see that their work has caused a vast body of water to accumulate in some other place. Similarly, we cannot empty the ocean of material misery by our own strength. At most, we will simply succeed in transferring the misery somewhere else. Of course, by doing that, we can certainly deceive others and even ourselves. The threefold miseries cannot be vanquished without following the Bhagavatam's instruction. There are unlimited varieties of misery. We cannot concoct a way to destroy even one of them. They are caused by nescience or ignorance in the form of forgetfulness of the Supreme Lord. The ignorance both covers the living entities and throws them into further pain. Until we destroy this root cause, we will never destroy the miserable effect. We must propagate devotional service if we wish to help others. If the Lord's message is preached around the world, then all countries and all people will achieve the greatest success of all time. Lord Vishnu is all pervading because he is the supreme Brahman. He is greater than the greatest. If we serve him, we are serving everyone else automatically. When someone serves a particular horse, he does not automatically serve all horses. Patriots are by nature servants of a particular country, not all countries. Paid servants are those who serve only at particular times, not at all times. Those who kill fish or goats to serve their tongue make the fish or goats unhappy and therefore do not serve all living beings. But by serving Lord Vishnu, all living beings are satisfied. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy yields no inauspiciousness result. Devotional service benefits all beings in all countries at all times. Wow, that's an amazing statement. Okay, that is really the essence of Krishna consciousness. We help everybody. We don't say, oh, well, you don't deserve to be helped because you're not, you're not a member of the Hare Krishna movement. We help everybody by going out on Sankirtan, giving out prasadam, chanting Hare Krishna, giving out books so they could study, and inviting them to the temple where they could come freely. We don't say, well, you have to take this course, it costs this much, or you have to take that course, it costs so much. No, we say, you just come, chant Hare Krishna, right, and be happy and have plenty of prasadam and hear bona fide devotees preaching. So, is service to Vishnu service to mankind? Yes, it is. Lord Vishnu is all pervading because he is the supreme Brahman. He is greater than the greatest. If we serve him, we are serving everyone automatically. When someone serves a particular horse, he doesn't automatically serve all horses. Patriots are by nature servants of a particular country, not all countries. Paid servants are those who serve only at particular times, not at all times. Those who kill fish or goats to serve their tongue make the fish or goats unhappy, and therefore do not serve all living entities. That's very funny. But by serving Lord Vishnu, all living beings are satisfied. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy yield no inauspiciousness result. Devotional service benefits all beings in all countries at all times. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Okay, so this is an interesting book, Nectar of Instruction for Immortality. Yeah. All right. So then I think we are finished unless there are any questions.